Hi, everyone. Okay, so yesterday I put in an offer to settle to Ian Scarth, um, which included, hang on a second, which included, um, sorry, we're just going to review quickly so that, and before we review, I would like to draw attention, and I will be putting this in the chat so that um, some of these people will draw attention to it. Um, This is particularly for Health Science Center, Heather Manchester, Holly Mulville. I made an offer to settle yesterday, and I asked Ian Scarth to take it to the panel and the Manitoba College of Social Workers. And to date, he has not responded to me in regards to it. He has responded to me, but he completely ignores the offer, not acknowledging it at all. So I will now be taking this to the Manitoba um, Law Society and to my local MP and MLA because this kind of behavior is not acceptable. And I will also be putting in a Manitoba human rights complaint directly against Ian Scarth and another one against Jessica Hershey. Um, that is my intention. Um, and we'll go over that another day. But for today, I want to talk about the offer to settle and his response or lack thereof. So yesterday I wrote to him and I said I'd be willing to take down my blog only where it pertains to Health Science Center or the Manitoba College of Social Workers in exchange for my membership being reinstated in good standing. That the reinstatement is only to ease the transition to another province. I have no intention of returning to Manitoba. No costs awarded against me. No further action taken against me by the Manitoba College of Social Workers in any matter. Should the Manitoba College of Social Workers reject my offer, they'll also be rejecting the possibility of me removing any of my posts. While it shouldn't be an either or, if I have to choose between my Canadian rights to freedom of speech or being a social worker, I will choose my Canadian rights each and every time. So today, he writes back, or sorry, so today after it had been 24 hours, I reached out to him and I said, "Good morning, Ian. It's been 24 hours since I emailed you the offer to settle without response from you. Did you convey to your client the offer to settle, or are they aware of it? Are they prepared to accept? Please respond by 4 p.m. today." Well, his email was um, pretty rude. He didn't even acknowledge the offer to settle. He just threw out some I think he was trying to intimidate me in this letter, but um, he doesn't. Um, I found him very belligerent, very rude, and I will be taking it to the Manitoba Law Society. And like I said, I will be putting in a human rights complaint against him. And I'll probably be reaching out to the Health Sciences Center and saying, "Hey, look, this guy, I made an offer to settle, and this guy is pretty well stonewalling it, as far as I can tell. And maybe you should get a hold of the Manitoba College of Social Workers and find out about this offer to settle, because I'm going to keep going at this." um, so he writes back, Miss Mayaska, please copy Miss Hershey with the email correspondence. The submissions on penalties and costs were heard by the panel on December 6, 2024. No joint recommendation was provided for the panel's consideration. If Miss Hershey, on the behalf of the college, wishes to comment on your emails, she may. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. My computer's about to die, so I need to plug it in. Okay. So notice how in that email he does not acknowledge the offer to settle at all. So here I write him back. Ian, all the hearings were not held in compliance with the Manitoba Social Workers Professional Act, and not only that, but you can't penalize someone for a probability. There's a probability it might snow tonight, but it's not fact. For the college to prove that I damaged its reputation in any way, they would need more than just a few videos I made based on my personal experience. They would need some sort of statistical data, none of which has been provided. In Section 9B, in the Notice of Decision, it states, the Manitoba College of Social Workers has proven on a balance of probabilities, charges 2 and 3, in that the member breached Section 7.18 of the Code of Ethics. Now, I'm going to stop there for a minute. 7.18 talks about a member bringing the college into disrepute, so damaging the reputation of the college, essentially, which has not been proven. The Code of Ethics is a guideline that that social workers follow, but it is not legislation. It is not law. And even if it was law, which it's not, in this instance, they are saying that the Code of Ethics essentially supersedes my my right to freedom of speech, which is part of the Canadian Constitution. So this whole thing started because I'm making these videos and I spoke out against what was happening at Health Science Center in Winnipeg, and a nurse by the name of Holly Mulville and a social worker by the name of Heather Manchester. I sorry. Now, in speaking out, Holly Mulville turned to the college after I put in a complaint with the College of Nurses. She put in a complaint with the College of Social Workers, a vindictive response, but whatever. She put in a complaint with the College of Social Workers, and the College of Social Workers started to investigate me. They were investigating for about 2 years, and they finally put in a notice of decision back in November, but they didn't put an order in at the same time, which again breaches the Manitoba Social Workers Professionals Act, and I'll show you that later on. But getting back to the Code of Ethics, the Code of Ethics is a guideline. It is not law. It is not provincial law. It is not federal law. It is just a guideline, a code of ethics. The Canadian Constitution is the supreme law of Canada. It is the law that protects our Canadian rights, such as freedom of speech. And one of the things I put in here is the Canadian Constitution states to be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to the law in a fair public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal. So First of all, I never received that. The Manitoba Social Workers Professionals Act states that any hearings are to be made public. Public notice is to be given on the hearings. Those two things didn't happen. So a fair and public hearing never took place. An impartial tribunal. Well, um I've been very open about the fact that there is a conflict of interest on the panel. Actually, the chair of the panel. And who did they get to vote on if there was a conflict of interest on the panel, but the panel itself? Which is illogical. That's like asking a guilty party to vote if they're guilty. Like, it doesn't make sense. Um, but then I go on to say the Constitution is supreme law of Canada, and any law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution is to the extent of inconsistency of no force or effect. And I noticed, again, this emails to Ian. I noticed that you've deliberately avoided the topic of the offer to settle. As such, I will be submitting a complaint to the Manitoba Law Society this evening against both you and Miss Hershey. It is my understanding that you are obligated to present any offer to settle that is made to your clients. Has the Manitoba College of Social Workers reached out or attempted to reach out to Holly Mulville, who initially made the complaint, or to Health Science Center because this complaint comes from a nurse who works there while my daughter was a patient there? Which is what this whole thing stems from. An irate nurse irate over a complaint that I put in. Well, in respect to the care my daughter was receiving at Health Sciences Center while in a coma. As stated in the Manitoba Social Workers Professionals Act, within 90 days after completion of a hearing, the panel must make a written decision on the matter consisting of the reasons for its decision and a statement of any order made by the panel. The Manitoba College of Social Workers panel is in violation of the terms set out for holding hearings, but also the terms in making decisions. Within 90 days of the hearing, the notice of decision and any order is to be made. It does not say upon issuing the notice of decision to hold more hearings to delay any order. It says the notice of decision is to be issued and any order within 90 days of the hearing. So, getting back to my initial schedule, I'm not going to be talking about the complaint about Heather Manchester tonight, simply because I don't believe Ian Scarth has. Um, I don't believe Ian Scarth has presented the client with the offer to settle. So I will be emailing Health Science Center directly tomorrow, or directly tonight, letting them know that this is a situation. And I will also be talking about the email that I sent yesterday to the Canadian Association of Social Workers. So they are the regulatory body, as I understand it, of all College of Social Workers in Canada. So it's going to be interesting to see whether they feel social workers have the same rights as every other Canadian, or if they feel that being a social worker um, voids us of having Canadian rights. So I'm waiting for a response from them. But the email I sent to them, I said, "Good evening. I am a social worker presently working in Ontario and have been since October 2022. The Manitoba College of Social Workers has brought proceedings against me which violate my right to freedom of speech for a family member that occurred in January 2023. 2 years later, the matter is still unresolved. The last hearing was in September 2024. Actually, I think it might have been August, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got to look back. But regardless, a written decision was issued November 2024. The college, since that time, has been delaying with issuing a decision in regards to an order or dismissal of the matter. I have submitted a human rights complaint against the Manitoba College of Social Workers, but it could take up to 2 years before the matter is heard. In the interim, the Manitoba College of Social Workers is in breach of legislation. The hearing that was held were not open to the public, nor was a public notice issued for the hearings, as indicated is a requirement of such hearings. These delays are creating great hardship for me and doing long-term damage to my career. Your help in this matter would be greatly appreciated. So that is the email that I sent to them. I don't know how long it's going to take to hear back from them. I'm hoping not too long. I know the Federation of Law Societies was pretty fast to respond, and I want to make note of that I really appreciated that. I'm going to be responding to them in the next little while. But I do want to make note that I really did appreciate the speed and attention that they gave to my matter. Um, and I will be following up more with them in the next few days. Um, Now getting back to Ian Scarth. So my plan for the next 24 hours is to put in a complaint to the Manitoba Law Society, start a human rights complaint against Ian Scarth, start a human rights complaint against Jessica Hershey, um, and write to Health Sciences Center and let them know that this post does exist. An offer to settle was made, and that for whatever reason, these lawyers have decided to delay. So, um, you know, if you can't get through the proper channels, go up and beyond, right? I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Um, Also, when I wrote Ian yesterday, I gave him a schedule of what I was hoping to do over the next week. So today I was hoping to talk to or discuss the complaint I put in against Heather Manchester, a social worker at Health Science Center, who the Manitoba College of Social Workers dismissed the complaint without any sort of investigation. Um, at least that's my understanding. Wednesday, I was going to talk about um, my local MP, um, the suggestions that his office gave to me in regards to how to navigate this issue. And Thursday, I was gonna talk about the Minister of Justice and the Minister of, well, not so social. Well, it's she's actually the Minister of Housing and Addictions. So hence social work, but um, the response they gave to me and the implications that surround that. Um, I'm gonna skip over Tuesday for right now. I'm not going to talk about the complaint against Heather Manchester because right now I don't think that's exactly fair because an offer to settle was put in. It's not her fault that Ian Scarth has chosen to um, not to bring that offer forward. Um, but as of tomorrow, I will be discussing it because tonight I will be writing to Health Science Center. So it will be up to um, it will be up to Health Science Center to get the message to Heather Manchester, who, if I was Health Science Center or Heather Manchester or Holly Melville, I'd be calling the Manitoba Law Society and say, get that complaint taken down. Um, because I mean that's the only way I'm going to be removing any of my posts. Um, and of course, if there's no costs and the things that I talked about, no cost awarded against me, my membership reinstated, and no further action taken against me by the Manitoba College of Social Workers. But we're going to talk about. We're going to jump ahead and we're going to talk about my local MP's office. So I'm in Ontario right now. I contacted my local MP's office, and I'm not going to use their name right now because I'm still hoping to get some help from them. I'm going to be going down in person to talk to them hopefully in the next day or two and show them some of this stuff, because when a Canadian's constitutional rights are being violated and they're being penalized for utilizing their Canadian rights, that is federal. There's no two ways around it. It's federal because the Canadian Constitution is federal. But his office suggested that I go to the Minister of Housing and Addictions in Manitoba and try to navigate this issue through them. Now, I received a letter from them, both the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Social Work, which essentially was a brush off. And we'll be talking about that more tomorrow. It was a brush off, but it was also it was one of those letters where you have to kind of read between the lines. It basically said they can't really help me. They have no real authority there, or something to that effect. I don't know the exact wording they said in the letter, but it was something to that effect. But it kind of took me back and went, huh, if the people who have a hand in making the legislation have no say in it, who regulates our country? Right? You've got your, like, and I'm not talking about like the prime minister or the Senate or anything like that. I'm talking about for the average citizen. What is the chain you have to go to actually get help? Right? Now, for me, I'm a social worker. If the Manitoba College of Social Workers regulates the colleges in Manitoba, but what if the Manitoba College of Social Workers is in breach of law, like the Canadian Constitution, like the Manitoba Social Workers Professionals Act? What if they're the ones that are actually breaching in an attempt to discriminate against or politically persecute one individual or even a series of individuals? What happens then? Who regulates that college if not the minister? So that's kind of sent me on a little bit of 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 research, which led me to the Canadian Association of Social Workers, which also led me to the Federation of Law Societies. So we're going to talk about more about their responses and in the next few days. But tomorrow we're going to talk about um, either the complaint I made against Heather Manchester, or we'll skip ahead to the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Social Work, or if they offer of or sorry, or if the offer to settle has been accepted, then we will forgo the whole thing, and I will be putting a post up saying, well, actually, I won't even be putting a post up at that point. I'll probably just start deleting a few things. So that is a possibility. Um, but for the moment, this is the game plan. The game plan is either talking about the complaint I made against Heather Manchester, talking about the letters from the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Social Work, well, Housing and Addictions, and one of those two, well, one of the three will happen tomorrow. So you guys have a good night. Um, I hope this wasn't too long. Over the next week, it I'm going to be going through a lot of material, and I really hope that um, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put it in the comments too. For whatever reason, I sometimes have trouble seeing the comments, but when I do see them, I do respond. So feel free if you have any questions. Have a good night, everyone.